And my name is Marianne Kersigi. I'm co-founder and CEO of Alibi. And, you know, Will's in one of the toughest states, Michigan. We're also in a tough state. We're from Oregon. And we've been crushing it in Oregon, and just a week and a half ago launched in New York. So look for Alibi in New York, and happy to chat about all of that. Yeah, that's great, Will. I would also add, for us in Oregon, it's been really important not only to figure out our identity and the brand and building that reputation, but also to figure out what the products are and what we're trying to do. Because it's really easy to get distracted with other form factors. You know, you see them all the time. That we could do gummies, we could do syrups, we could do this, we could do that, we could do pills and capsules, all of that. But what we have focused on and what has been key to our success is picking a lane and really owning it. So we know how to do indoor cultivation. We do it really well, but we're always learning, always trying to get better. And from that, then that leads to some integrity in the brand, because our customers know what to expect. They know that they're always going to get top flower. There's some consistency, and that just is throughout the entire brand experience, whether it's a pre-roll or flower or whatever. But financial efficiency comes from that. So if you're being distracted with, oh, hey, let's go try this, or oh, let's go try this new machine, it can do things better. Well, can it, and is it really worth your time to try to figure that out? And that's part of the challenges of being an operator, is you've got to decide where it makes sense to put the money and the investment versus where it doesn't. And it's like, oh, this is cool, but is that actually what the business needs? And that's, you know, something we're learning. We've made mistakes, but we try to figure that out and try to make the best decisions that we can. Yeah, I agree with that. But also, so for us, we started almost 10 years ago, so we have our infrastructure already built out. So I think it's a different conversation if you're just getting off the ground and just building versus people who have maybe an existing grow you're taking over or something that has been around for a while. So there are things that you can do to optimize your efficiency in your existing facility, like the previous panel talked about some of those things. But then also, we are not in the weed storage business. So if I have to, I'm not going to sit on stuff and wait for the highest price. We're going to move it because, as we all know, it degrades over time. So we set our price and we work with our customers, and we work really hard at having sell-through and sales velocity, because ultimately that's what matters. We want to get the freshest product as possible in the hands of consumers. So that's, you know, as price compression, we're talking about it, prices drop. So our prices that we're getting now are half of what we were 5 years ago. And we have set up our COGS and our costs and our infrastructure so that we can weather that. So we're still profitable, and we've been profitable, but I think that's the biggest takeaway for people in emerging markets, is you have to set up your infrastructure in such a way that you can weather those storms and still survive. Can I add on to that?
Absolutely, please.
So it's interesting, you know, we're in a more mature market, so we think about pricing and price volatility. So our competition are amazing operators like Anna, who was just on the stage. They grow in living soil, really top quality, great product. So that's one version of it. But then there are also people who are desperate for any kind of cash. So these are people who are on their way out. So they're selling their product for whatever they can get to make payroll, to pay taxes, to pay their power bill, whatever. So they're in a very different environment than those of us who are trying to build a sustainable business. So you have to build in that. So my competition is, you know, so these are people who are in the market for selling for half of what I would sell for. But what they're doing is they're training the market and the buyers that price is an acceptable price. And we're working on retraining people from that, but that's something that I hope the emerging markets learn and don't make that same mistake, because buyers and shops should value quality product. And we provide that quality product, but we also provide the brand and the support and the integrity and the reputation.
Country on Oregon's side, a little less population. What are some systemic price? What have you seen price do in your experience over the 10 years you've been operating, Marianne, in the Oregon market?
Well, such an interesting story. So when we originally did our pro formas for the farm, back when we were first constructing our building, we used $2,000 a pound as hey, it's easy. The weed's going to sell itself. We were so naive. And but from that, so today we're getting less than that, quite a bit less, $1,000 on a good day. And people are taking terms, they're taking that 60 to pay, and really that translates to 120. So we're the ones floating it. So just last week, we've instituted new policies for accounts receivable. We've cut off a bunch of shops. But it's an indication of having the financial discipline to know what's smart and what's right for your business and what's not. And if it's not right for your business and if it doesn't feel right, you shouldn't do it. And so we've chosen to just work with shops and distributors who pay on time and represent the brand right. And if they don't, it's not worth it to us in the long term. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the industry. It doesn't help the brand. So being diligent about the decisions and how you choose to sell your product is really important.
Decisions.
The other thing I think is important is people talk a lot about tenacity and the ability to pivot. Pivot's the name of the game, and people talk about that. But what I've come to realize for us is, yes, that's there, and yes, you do need to be flexible and adaptive, but sometimes you just need to be stubborn and push through something. But knowing the difference is really important, and there's not an easy answer, because if you're just beating your head against the wall because you wanted to do something, is it really worth it or is it not? And that's something that you only figure out over time. So that's why, like Will said, it's important to have people around you. Surround yourself with people who are smart and who are passionate, because that's how you make the best decision that you can at the time. And I would say that once you've done that, once you have a good handle on what your cogs are, for us, we try to be lean and mean, and that is key to our success. But you can't cut your way out of a hole. So if you're already in a hole, it's kind of too late. So set your systems up so they're efficient and you can manage it. But for us, then it's all about yield and it's about price in the market, because you can get down and get down and get down. Like, okay, we're trying to reduce our cogs. We have $5, $10, whatever. Those little bits at the end, for us, it's more valuable to increase your yield. So increase your yield, increase your brand awareness in the market, and build your brand that way. Well, I'll give you a concrete example of how this interchange plays out on our farm. We always hand trim everything, and our trimming crew are the most painful people to manage. They are really, really good at their job, and good trimmers are hard to find. But every few months, the question comes up is, can't we just buy a machine? And the answer is, well, maybe someday. I hope it'll get there. But for our position in the market, if we were to start hand trimming our flour, it would immediately switch us from top shelf probably to middle or bottom shelf. And so knowing those things that matter and being able to acknowledge that they take some investment is really important. And that's just something where it's not just a financial decision. If it were financial, I'd cut them. We're buying a machine, done. But that's not who we are. That doesn't represent the quality of our product. And that's something you just got to figure out for you. What's right for you? It's not like there's one right answer that's right all the time for everybody. Well, this is not answering your question directly,
no worries.
But indirectly. So what we focused on for the last year is working on our cure, because there's only so many things you can do on the cultivation side to increase yield. There's light, there's nutrients, there's all those things. And we've certainly done a lot of that. But for us, what we were finding is that we kind of plateaued out, and it got more and more expensive to keep trying new things, because you want to do it right. You want to do an A and a B test and see what matters, see what works, see what doesn't. But over time, we're like, okay, we've done all these good things, but what else can we do that actually makes a difference? And that was working on our cure. So we spent a year working on it. We found studies, we found research. My head of cultivation, she's got a master's in plant pathology. She's wicked smart. And so we really just dialed it in, and that's what's allowed us to step outside the competition and really have a better product. But figuring out what that is for each person and each farm is going to be different. And no, I won't tell you what I do.
I was waiting for that part right there. So I think that, those will serve you well as you go forward in this industry.
And one thing to add on to that is also what we've done really, really well at our farm is we cultivate this attitude of improvement. So nobody's ever going to say, oh, hey, I'm the best grower. I'm the best at this or whatever. There is no the best. It's constantly working to get better and constantly learning and striving and like, oh, hey, that's what we learned from that. It's not a mistake. It's, hey, that was a really good learning opportunity. And really actually embodying that, not just saying that as a trite pat on the back, but actually, oh, interesting, I didn't know that. We will do better next time.
So while everybody needs an alibi, Grasshopper Farms, the grasshopper actually embodies always learning, right? So that's great. But we all do need an alibi as well.
Well, yeah.
I was going to say...
And I would add that I think standards are really important. Like ASTM I'm involved in ASTM. We write standards, but that really is just a reflection of what we do at the farm because we have processes, we have SOPs. So while we may not be GMP certified, we're already building that foundation because once we find what works for us, we write it down and we repeat it.
You're agreeing with me. That's what's going on, right, Ron? We talked about this before.
We're all agreeing with Will.
So I was a little bit curious, and try to stagger your harvest, man. You don't want to be pulling it all down at once. It's a lot. It's a lot of work.
Well, and I would just add one thing we haven't talked about is on the sales side, what brands and farms can do to help on the sales side. So we harvest every month, so everything's always fresh, and we always sell out every round before the next one comes down. So there's this constant availability of new stuff in the shops. But then what we do is we come along behind that and educate the bud tenders and drive sales from that way. And we sponsor events in the community so that we're present in the community. Because then if customers go into a shop asking, like, hey, do you guys have Alibi? Then it really is that whole loop where we try to close the loop and do the best that we can that way.